What is up and welcome back to the channel. Just sat here in the garage contemplating, so I don't know if there's going to be one long video buttoning up or I'm going to start the next jobs and post it sometime over Christmas. But pretty much everything's arrived now, ready to finish the car. I'm waiting for a couple of little bits just holding back, but hopefully they'll be here before Christmas. So what's actually arrived is the exhaust stuff. So we've got big box to go at the back, middle box, that's the biggest one I can fit in the gap, a sports cap, some lengths to straight, some bends, flange to go on the manifold, and that's it. I'm waiting for the hanger material, which is just some 10mm bar. Intake stuff, I've got the bends here to use, which will take it from there down into there. I've got some barbs and things, so we've got the big barb, which will go onto the the vent breather, that's the word I'm looking for, using a bit of hose. I've got a small one, which is for this one here. I believe that's for the idle assist. And then we've got this flangey thing, which will be welded to that pipe for the intake temp. And then a big cone filter. It's a Direnza one, so it's not a cheap Chinese one, but it's not a mega expensive one. We've got random bit of hose, which is for the brake booster. It'll go from that barb there around into the brake booster with a one-way valve in it. And clutch line, just an EP3 clutch line, which will go from the slave cylinder to the master cylinder there. Need to mount the pedal, so we've got the pedal and the materials I need to make that. I've got some aero catchers, because obviously standard bonnet catcher is no longer there. And then a little bit of heat management, which is for the tunnel, for the shifter cables and the tunnel itself. So while I'm deciding if it's going to be a long video or a couple of short videos, let's make some progress. So I'm going to put the clutch line in, which is hopefully a 2-minute job. Do the heat management on the shifter cables and start mounting that pedal. So the brake booster needs vacuum to give you power brakes. This is a standard Jazz hose. Goes onto there, and if you feel there, obviously you can't feel it because it's on video, but there's like a little lump in the pipe. That is a one-way valve, so it can either pull vacuum and can't like blow into it. Does that make sense? But obviously that needs to reach there, which is never going to happen. So I've got this vacuum hose, nothing special. It's literally just vacuum hose from eBay, ASH stuff, which is all China cheap stuff, but it works. So I'm going to put it on there. Obviously I don't want to cut that out, but I can cut that off on a straight bit with somewhere around here. Join it up, run it around here neatly, and into there. Right, that'll do for that. A couple of cable ties and P-clips hold it out of the way, but it'll work. Next up we'll get the clutch line done. It's an EP3 clutch line, nothing fancy. Stickers from brakeshop.co.uk. It's an EP3. You couldn't see a great deal there, but I've just put it on there. It's got a little swivel fitting, so don't worry too much about orientation. That swivels. Run down, round, and get it comfortably onto the slave cylinder. It's done. The clutch line went that way instead of that way. I have a feeling the left-hand drive EP3 clutch might be a little bit better, because obviously it's a smaller one, because this is really long. When we ran it that way, it was right out here, and then it'd start interfering with the fan and the intake. So I ran it that way, went to this factory clip there, down through there, under the inlet manifold, not near anything that spins or anything, and in there. So obviously I'll still need bleeding. I end up with this very racer looking hose. I suppose you could take some of that up, but yeah, a couple of P-clips maybe to hold it in place. Anyway, clutch line's done, needs bleeding. I've added that to the list. I think that's the hoses done, because the radiator hoses are done, barring maybe adding a temperature sensor to this. I mentioned in the previous video, I've got a barb on order, it's not here yet. But I think that's the hoses done, so we could probably scratch that off. Clutch line done. We can't really do the intake yet because we're waiting for this boot, the boot that goes there, puts it to 3-inch. Waiting for some rod for the exhaust, hose is done, clutch done. So it's just this heat management stuff and the pedal. Right, we're back under the car. It's already going dusky, so apologies for the lighting. But I've got with me some acetone for cleaning a bit of dirt off, rag for the same reason, heat management stuff, got tape and the cover for the lines, pair of scissors to cut them, and a blowtorch. So once I've done the acetone, I can just give it a quick and it should burn off any residue. So the plan is, obviously there's your lines there, they're quite close to the manifold, especially just there. So first thing we're doing, let it gold tape. I'm just going to put a bit on this tunnel, zoom you out a bit, there we go. So I'm going to put a bit on this tunnel, just try and keep it exhaust heat off the tunnel. That's the passenger compartment, of course. I'll try and come right down here as well, and right down here, and then give these lines a wrap. Just that section really, from sort of there to somewhere in this region, just where the manifold is. I'm not going to record it because you're not going to be able to see a great deal, but I will show you the finished result now. And there you have it. So the gold tape's not the neatest, but it's in, it's all stuck really well. It's not going anywhere, and it goes right up the tunnel there. Well, I've missed it actually. Put a little patch on there. And then there's this coating sleeving stuff that runs from this bracket right up to the fuel lines, so it's not going to be too hot from the exhaust manifold. So yeah, happy with that. I'll put a little patch on there, and then we'll go back up top of engine and see what else we can do. For the bonus, I've got a bit of that stuff left and a bit of gold tape left, so we can use it on another project. Maybe use the gold tape on the intake, make it look a bit, race car-y. But we're back up top, and I've just crossed off the bits that have been done. So it's down to the pedal, which I've been putting off, and something else I did overlook. I need a radiator fan. I think the OEM fan's going to foul the slave cylinder. So I'm going to offer that up, see how that fits, see if I can get away with just shaving that fan, because it obviously is a much better fan than them like cheap ones that just bolt onto the back of the radiator. And if I can get the OEM fan to work, I'll do that. So let's offer it up and see how it fits. Alright, so the fan's hitting the slave cylinder, and obviously that also needs to move. It's hitting there as well, and it still needs to go back an inch. So I'll have to order a slimline fan, which is annoying. I'll get one of them ordered. That leaves us with one job I can do now, two jobs I can do now. Aero catchers, which mean cutting holes in the bonnet, and it's probably getting a bit late for that now. My clock stopped working, so I don't know what time it is. Or pedal. So if we'll make a start on pedal. Right, so for the pedal, this is the OEM pedal, 2 bolt, bolts the firewall. You have that action. The pedal I'm going to be using, this is a newer Jazz pedal, slightly different mounting, not stiffer because obviously it relies on this rather than that cable on the throttle body. So we need to convert that to that. A couple of templates, we'll make them out of steel. I think that's why I'm going to call it a night. We'll come back to this probably next weekend, maybe weekend after. The plates are cut, they line up with the holes on the pedals, so I just need to decide on positioning, weld it all together, and how it's all going to bolt together. So yeah, see you next week. Right, it's a couple of weeks later. I've not had a chance to touch the Jazz, so it's just been sort of festering in the background. I've got a couple of bits ordered, so it's good to make progress again. But I'm hoping to get a lot more done this weekend than I initially planned. So it's currently the 28th of December. I hope you all had an amazing Christmas. I hope you have a happy new year. I'm hoping to get this video out on New Year's Day. I don't think it's going to happen, but we'll see how we get on. So this weekend's jobs is to finish the pedal mount, get that to a point where it just needs welding up, maybe get it all mocked up, get the exhaust built up, again potentially mocked up, and get that intake made up. Then we'll just need to fit the aero catches and a couple of little bits and bobs. Probably turn this into one video if we get it all done. If we don't get it all done, then it'll end up being another video, like maybe some finalising points. But yeah, this is where we are now. Let's get on with it. Let's get this car done. Thank you. She's a good one. She brought me a pigs in blanket and egg sandwich. Right, breakfast out of the way. This is what I've come up with for my pedal mount. It's a little bit over-engineered, so don't at me. What I've made it with is literally just what I've got knocking about. But it's the mount for the drive-by-wire pedal. That bolts to the body with a couple of bits of 10mm bar. I know, not ideal. It's all made out of stainless, or apart from the welds, which are MIG welds. But it should be solid, we can paint it, it should be fine. And it's more than strong enough, there's no flex at all in that. So we'll get that mounted up and just double check pedal position and everything. Right, forgive the terrible angle, this is a difficult place to record, but this is held to the bulkhead with two nuts, which are here. Try not to block you off. Oh. Solid. Then I've got these three big washer bolts which go here, ball up there. Feels good. So I'm a bit tall, so it's harder to gauge, but call that a win. Just need to remove it, get a lick of paint, and that's one job ticked off the list. Right, so while that's drying and I'm contemplating what's next over a cup of tea, again sponsored by my lovely missus. Contemplating what's next. Need to make an exhaust, need to make an intake, basically exhaust intake, fan, that top hose, and installing some aero catchers, which again have come in. I love aero catchers, they look proper race car. Oh, they're in a box up there. So yeah. I need to install fan, install that fitting, install aero catchers, build an exhaust, build an intake. And then in theory, I can tighten all front suspension back up, plug ABS lines back in, and drive off the end of the drive. I think next up we're going to have to think about starting this exhaust. Stop worrying about the little bits and get the big jobs done. The little bits can get done down the line. I hate scrubbing about on the floor. I need a 2-post ramp. Do you reckon Mister let me put a 2-post ramp on drive? Made a fresh list. Rad fan, water temp fin, water temp gauge, bleed the clutch, exhaust intake, and then put it all back together. Front bumper, all front suspension, underguard, maybe if it still fits. It's all in the car. And obviously interior needs to go back together, so we'll add that to there as well. While we're making the lift, my missus come out and give me a hand to bleed the clutch as well. So that's one less job to worry about. So let's get on with this exhaust. Right, I've got it all prepped, ready to go. Got the flange polished and took all the scale and everything off it. It is a stainless flange, but it just had a bit of storage scale, stuff like that. But it's all polished, ready to go. Got me straight lengths, got me hanger material, my bends, hopefully there's enough there, my boxes, and my catalytic converter. What I've also done is welded up the inside of them, just so the two layers are welded together, because during manufacture they just spot weld them for some reason. So I've got it all welded up, and to make sure the pipework is going to fit, it's snug, but it does fit. I've took a file round and just cleaned them up so they're a nice snug fit, rather than having to beat them in with an hammer. So we're all ready to go, and now the bit I've been putting off is actually scrolling under the claw. I've left the MIG set up with a bit of stainless wire in it, so I can tack it together if I want to, rather than marking, climbing out, tacking, going back under, checking it, breaking it apart because it's clocked slightly and stuff like that. I'm not sure how much of this I'm going to be able to show you because it's under the car, I ain't got a ramp. So this might be a case of just me getting it done and showing you what I've done, rather than showing me doing it. I'll get a section done and I'll come back to you. Right, it's the next day, bit of progress made, a bit of slow one yesterday. I can't remember where I got to with it, because I've not been recording, I've just been getting on with it, but there's that throttle pedal bracket. I get a lick of paint. We're on with the exhaust though, it's coming together quite well. I'll show you where we're up to. So it comes off the manifold there, comes down there, ignore the terrible welds. And we've got our box, which is not too low. The actual exhaust is lower than the box, but I've tilted it down slightly to try and help it get under this chassis member. I put that in there as a joke for my Instagram, just so I'll just dump it there, done. But I'm just looking at it. It's still not low enough to actually get the pipe straight in, so I need to put a little dip there to get it under there. It wants to go straight along there, through that gap there, and then out the back of the car. I'll probably record again when it's done. Right, so good progress was being made. Just got the exhaust on the bench, welding it up, got it to the point where it just needs to sort of spare off to go around the rear beam. And my weld started coming out a little bit shitty, for lack of better words. And it turns out I've got no gas. I've run out of argon. Literally nothing in the bottle. I'm surprised it lasted this long with how little we're in it. And my supplier can't get any until tomorrow tea time. So chances are there's no more welding. So I thought, that's alright, I'll tack it up with a MIG, at least get the rear section done. And that's pretty much the same. It's got tiny bit showing on gauge, so I'm not going to get much out of that. Probably be alright for tacking, to be fair. So yeah, we're at a bit of a standstill. But that's actually welded up. Looks a bit shitty, but it's welded up, that's solid. I'm just waiting for that to cool down. Then we can bolt that back onto the car. While I'm waiting for it to cool down, I've just chucked the pedal in. And there it is. Yeah, full range of movement, literally. That's 100% throttle, and the carpet is just touching it. You can literally just bend the pedal a little bit. So I'm happy with that. I can plug that in now. Another issue I've got is I'm running out of bends. I've used a lot more than I thought I would. Message a few friends, see if I can get hold of any. If not, that might be a bit of a standstill until I can get hold of some, because I don't think anywhere around here stocks them, especially over the holiday period. That's what I'm going to call it for the night. So that's why it comes off the manifold. Goes down, round, down the side of the car, little sound for the resonator, whatever you want to call it. It goes bound and then around and under the rear beam, and that goes to a little hanger I've put into the support structure, which holds it nice and solid. Obviously that'll need welding up when I can get some gas tomorrow. But yeah, it's getting a bit dark, so try again tomorrow. Right, it is the next day. It's like 2 p.m. now. I've lost most of the day because I've been running about. But I've managed to get some gas. That's all been swapped over. That's good to go. And I've managed to get some extra elbows. So thanks to Kieran at Scanifab. Massive help. I'll link his Instagram below. He's sound kid, fairly local to me. And he does Saab stuff, big power Saab stuff, as well as probably anything else you ask him to. So yeah, thank you very much. But yep, the plan is now, I'll weld this up. This end needs welding up on the hanger. Once that's all welded up, I'll start making the back section. As you can see, it's a little bit dark outside. I've been plodding away with it, but it's all in one piece. Just need to weld that end together. Put a tip on it, it's nothing fancy, just a little bit understated but motorsporty, if that makes sense. But I've got a lot of welding to do now. So we'll pull the garage door down, get some tunes going, and get welding. There you have it, the exhaust is done, it's on. I don't know how loud it's going to be. I did buy a sports cat for it, but due to a lack of space under the ears, without modifying the manifold, which is already bolted to the engine, there's no other space for it. But we'll get down under the car. It's probably going to be a bit windy, so I do apologise. Show what we've got. Comes off, manifold there, on the box, across the back, round the brake lines, plenty of clearance there, and that's it. Just a little 2.5 inch dips down, nice and subtle. So now the exhaust's done, we can cross that off the list. I'd like to see how it sounds. So it's full of water, or coolant, whatever you want to call it, but it's got no intake on it, so I may just quickly chuck something together, start up and see how loud that exhaust is. I have a feeling it's going to be pretty loud though, so yeah, we'll do that now. For a quick intake, we've got a adapter to take it from the throttle body to 3 inch. A random bit of 3 inch pipe, wire knocking about. A filter. It's a bit crude, but it'll work. Right, so it is a little bit loud, not ridiculously so, but all the lights go out, no engine management light, no oil pressure light or anything like that. There's ABS lights on, but the front ABS sensors aren't plugged in, so I'm guessing that's that. It's one more thing we can tick off the list, and then we'll go and build this intake. Right, update time. I thought I'd been time-lapsing it, but apparently I didn't press the button, so I've got a bit done off camera. But I'm going to have to go back a couple of steps because of slight oversight on my part. So what I did get done is I welded a fitting onto the top radiator hose for a water temperature sensor, which will be for the water temperature gauge in the cabin. Started making this intake, which puts the filter down there behind the factory vent. But what I completely overlooked, the other thing I did is this panel here. Trimmed it out a bit more for the intake right here. But what I completely overlooked, and I've been overlooking for a long time, is with this bolted on, the radiator sits against the bumper, against the back of the grille, just there. So before I carry on making this intake and everything starts fouling, we're going back to the drawing board, and what I'm going to have to do is cut these off, shorten them down by roughly 20 millimeters, move the radiator as far back as we can get away without touching the engine, well, the intake manifold, and then we can start looking at the intake again. Got it all sorted, we're back to square one. I've got the radiator moved back, I've got this hose all set again, I've got the radiator hose remodified, so that's all set exactly what it needs to, so when we put the bumper on, nothing touches where it shouldn't touch. So at the minute I'm just mocking up the intake. So this is the filter I'll be using, and the plan is to put that somewhere here. But the issue I'm having is making it down there. There's not as much room as I thought there would be. So if I send that down there, where I wanted to send it, the shifter it's it. The problem with fabrication type stuff on video is there's a lot of just thinking and holding stuff to stuff, which is why I don't really record anymore. I'll just get on with it and show you how I've done it. So yeah, I'll probably come back to you when I've got a game plan. I believe I've sorted it. I've got my torch. So obviously it's only tacked up at the minute, but it goes down there, misses the shifter linkage, and yes, that is at full shift. That can't go any further that way. Avoids all the earths and everything. Nowhere near the radiator. Miles away from all this. Fantastic. If we go into the arch, can't see anything, it's dark. Misses the fog light lovely, doesn't touch the bumper, won't touch the arch liner once that's in place, again all lovely. And as an added bonus, if we go to the vent in the bumper, there's a filter. This is the obviously high pressure area of the bumper, so yeah, very happy with that. So I just need to remove it, weld it fully, and then obviously want some sort of bracket, otherwise it'll just sort of check about and everything. So we'll bracket it off the engine so it moves all together. There's plenty of space, and with the solid engine mounts, should be miles away from everything. But yeah, that'll be nice and easy. And then we'll have to just worry about this little fitting into the hose, something off the breather into there, and then the intake air temp somewhere. Good progress. It's coming together. Right, the intake's done. I jumped ahead a few steps, but there it is. It's got a little bracket toward the bottom. We've got the breathers and the intake air temp. I was speaking to a well-known Honda tuner who said the only reason he would put one of these in is if you're running boost, because it can hold up to the boost being bolted in. But as it's naturally aspirated, just put a little bung in it. So yeah, I found a bung that's the right size, drilled a hole, and away you go. So yeah, we'll bolt it up, and then that's one more job off the list. Also, sorry if I sound like arse, I'm fairly sure I've got the plague. Down there, sucking in all that puddle water from the holes through that hole in the grill as well. Comes up round the chassis leg. It's close there, but it's not touching. Then we've got a breather for the, I believe it's the idle air control. That goes on there, to push down. Another breather there, again push down. And then I need to do a little bit of cable management to keep all this tidy. But there's the idle air, intake air temp sensor, and there's plug. Push them on, and that's it's done. Right, so the intake is all done. Welded them fittings on and put the intake air temperature sensor in there. That's all fantastic. I also took the rad fan on. It's just a slimline fan. Just pops through the radiator using these little things, some little springs. I don't know if you can see it, but it's there. And I've just ran the car. Good pros, whatever we call it. It runs and it idles to an extent. Come back to that. The fan kicks in at 95 degrees and kicks back out at 87, 86, whatever it were. So that's all fantastic. No problems there. The issue I'm having is it's revving, or idling, at like 1550 RPM. And it's almost as if it's got a vacuum leak. It's like boom, 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 boom. Only 100 RPM, so it's not idling fantastically. And then on top of that, the it won't rev. So you hit the throttle pedal, it goes up to 2.5 and just holds it there, no matter how much throttle input you give it. So issue they need to look into, but that is where we're up to. Got quite a bit done. Engine and running wise, in theory, I should be done. I'm thinking it might be an issue with the pedal, and then I'm also going to vacuum leak test the car. So I've got myself a 3-inch silicone, which I can put on in place of the filter, and I'm quickly going to weld together a piece of 3-inch pipe with an end tank, and then I can put a little barb on it to put an airline or something on. Or just cap it off and put it straight onto the onto there, so it smoke tests the full, well, vacuum tests the full thing, because I've not got a smoke tester. Right, so what I've made is just this. It's just a bit of 3-inch pipe with an end cap welded on it, with some less than ideal welds. Piece of 3-inch silicone joiner. I've removed the filter, pop that on there, put another Jubilee clip on it. Then in theory, it's all sealed. All we need to do is apply a little bit of pressure, ideally smoke, but I ain't got a smoker, so a bit of pressure to that and have a listen around. Right then, so what I've done, off camera, get off, no. Right, so what I've done, I'll remove this cap, move that to there, just so it tests the brake booster stuff as well. Move that out of the way. We got a little bit of pipe, put it on there. And I've put that onto there instead of on the filter because it was blowing out the intake air temperature sensor hole. So I've removed all that. Then when I blow into this, in theory it pressurizes the intake manifold and all around the throttle body, etc. It's blowing out there, which is something to do with the idle air control. If I block that off, like that. Excuse me. No leaks. I'm wondering if we've got bad idle air control doodad. So I'm going to block that off and try running it again and see if that helps with the idle issue. Now it's pissing it down and ailing, so I'm going to call it. If you have any idea why it might be idling like that, it wasn't doing it on sort of cold start, but as soon as it's been running for a few seconds, it started doing it again. Should the idle air control valve blow air, suck air? Should it be closed? But it didn't really make a difference, so I'm thinking should be fine. Any K20 experts out there want to help a brother out? Anyway, I'm going to call it that. I think I've got enough done on this video, on this episode, I'm going to call it. So if you got to this point of the video, thanks for watching. I hope you had an amazing Christmas, and I hope you have a very happy New Year. Catch you the next one.